Hello and welcome to More Movies Weekly, Episode 2, where we will be discussing what's what, what's hot and what's not in the world of movies. My name's Greg Fisher and I'm joined of course by my friend and colleague Dave Roberts. How's it going, Dave?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm not too bad, sir. I'm just recovering from having watched the Justice League, Zack Snyder cut. Took all weekend to watch it.
Don't disturb my friend. He's dead tired.
Right, surprised it didn't take all month to watch it. How long that was. It was something else, wasn't it?
It certainly was. We'll get into it right after this. So yeah, we knew we were going to have to do this. We knew we were going to have to watch it. Everybody's still talking about it this week. It's probably took most people all weekend to watch. I know it took me 2 sittings to get through. What did you think?
Yeah, well, I thought it would take me 2 sittings, to be honest, but I managed to plough through 1 sitting, which really surprised me.
That is a hell of a sitting.
It is. My arse was so sore.
Holy stuffy!
Exactly, Robin.
It was pretty uncomfortable. I kind of, just before I jumped in, I'd seen that there was a big positive reaction online from certain sections anyway, and I was like, okay, this might actually end up being much better than I anticipated it could be, you know. But I don't get it. I don't get why people are enjoying it. To me, it was self-indulgent.
What?
Long.
What?
Say
Boring.
what again?
Meandering.
You're a monster!
It just didn't entertain me, and it didn't, to me, have the depth that I expect when you've got a 4-hour film.
No, well, there's not many films that run that long. And as we said last week, we were talking about it, you know, what you do with a turkey, you know, you reconstitute it, you make an even bigger turkey. Cue Bernard Matthews.
This beautiful golden bird is the best turkey I've ever produced.
It got me thinking of things like, remember Waterworld years ago with Kevin Costner, and it was the most expensive movie ever made at the time, and it flopped. It was an absolute, you know, dead duck. You know, I can't imagine back then that, you know, that movie would be like, okay, it didn't do so well. Let's bring it back the original director. Let's add another 2 hours to it and then re-release it. I mean, it's very much a new phenomena for filmmakers to do this sort of thing. So it's definitely of interest in that sense from a film history point of view. But, you know, I mean, to try and, before you go into it, try and be a bit more positive about it. I thought it looked nice. There was times in it I thought it very much reflected a graphic novel, which is, of course, what it's kind of based on, that comic book world. And it did very much reflect that kind of style very successfully and very well. It looked beautiful in places, but as for the rest of it, you know, I pretty much, you know, agree with you that it was a little bit self-indulgent, a bit too long. And I was getting bored too watching it.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost relief by the end of it. And I agree, the stylistic choices were probably appropriate. You know, we've seen Zack Snyder with 300 and Watchmen and stuff, that very good films, very stylistic, and it suits this genre, and there is parts which are beautiful. There's also parts where I'm sitting there going, you've spent $400 million on this, and some of these effects look like something from a video game. Like, it was some moments where I was like, this is really bad effects, that's not worth the money. But, you know, as I've mentioned, that with the indulgence, it reminded me of the Star Wars prequels of George Lucas, that no one was there going, stop, George, you know, and this is what you should be doing.
Word.
And I think in the same vein that because they've just let him do whatever he wanted, which in some ways can be praised, the director should have a certain amount of autonomy, but it feels like there was no one there going, hold on, that's not needed.
Well,
you know,
what it was basically was a fan film. You know,
it was. Yeah.
I mean, the best actor in it for me was Joe Morton. He plays the scientist guy, you know, that's trying to, you know, investigate the cubes and stuff. He also famously played Miles Dyson in Terminator 2. And he is, you can tell he's such a great actor, but he kind of had to wander through this film with a look on his face as if to say, what am I doing in this piece of crap, you know? I mean, there was a particular scene with him and his younger intern where they're both in the lab and they're discussing the cubes and what might happen. And they were trying to do some sort of like, you know, a bit more lighthearted banter kind of scene which had some comedy in it, but I found it fell completely flat, and the jokes didn't come across. And Joe Morton's just stood there with a look like, this isn't even funny. I bet he wanted to blow himself up again like he did in Terminator 2. Yeah.
I think that there's moments in there where I went, oh, that's a really great scene. The one that came to my mind was when Lois Lane and the mother.
That was Superman's mum. That's Martha Kent.
Superman's mum, yeah, where they're having a coffee and talking about you need to get over the fact that Superman's gone. That was a really good dramatic scene. It told a lot of story in a short amount of time and was well constructed. But for every one of those scenes, which was like, that's a nice bit of film, there was 10 other scenes where I was like, this is stupid.
Mark Commode was tweeting about it when he had to sit through it, and one shot in particular which showed a picture of Bruce Dern watching a monitor. I think it was from Silent Running. That really made me laugh. Just the look on the incredulous look on Bruce's face, as if to say, have I really got to sit through another 3 hours of this? But that's how I did. I watched an hour and a half, and then it got so late the one night, I felt like 90 minutes is a movie's worth anyway, and I had to watch the other 2.5 hours the next night. But there we go. We got through it. It's done.
Got through it, yeah. I have written an article over on our website, moremovies.co.uk, talking about the film, just a background on how it came to be, the story, and of course our thoughts on the film in general, which is well worth going and checking out.
Yeah, that sounds almost as boring as the film itself.
Talking of Justice League, another tidbit that came out this week during an interview, Zack Snyder has announced that there's going to be a black and white edition.
Wow.
Justice is Grey, I think they're going to be calling it.
Okay.
And that's another one that's going to be hitting HBO Max at some point in the next coming months or whatever. And it's very strange because this seems to be something that's been happening lately. We had Mad Max, if you remember, they did a black and white version of that, black and chrome, that was released on Blu-ray.
Well, that was Fury Road, was it?
Yeah, Fury Road, yeah.
Parasite had a
black and white.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and Logan, if you remember, for a few years ago, they did a
I seem to remember Logan doing it, now you mention it, but the other ones have slipped by without me noticing. But I mean, I'd seen somebody saying about this that they could do that with their telly anyway. Just
switch the mode.
Yeah, put the settings down to 0. You know,
it seems like some weird trend that's happening where they keep on going, oh, we're going to do it in black and white, and I don't quite understand it because to me, you make a decision when you're making a film of it's going to be black and white, like Mank or something, you know, and you make that decision when you make it, and that is it.
Yeah, and
that should be it. I don't see the point of going, we're going to do a technical version, a colour version, a red tint version. You know, it all seems a bit
a gimmick,
cash grabby.
Yeah, exactly, exactly what it is. There you go. What can you say to that? I mean, it is what it is.
It's what it is. What it is. It's what it is.
Talking about black and white, another article we've put up on the site this week is our Colour in Cinema videos, all in one nice article which talks about the use of colour in cinema or the lack thereof, as in black and white. So, you know, if that kind of thing's of interest to you, you can find all of those videos in one place over on moremovies.co.uk. Just search for the use of colour article, you'll find it there. Okay, so another thing we talked about last week as well was the House of Gucci, because we'd had that image released. There's been a few more things about that this week.
Yeah, they've released some more photos, mainly like on-set photos have come out of the film, and you kind of just look at them, and I mean, you can tell this is a film about fashion. Like some of the costumes that are coming out. We of course mentioned last week that shot, the first picture had been released, and it looked like Wham! Last Christmas, and now we've got all kinds of strange photos coming out with Adam Driver looking like
Maurizio
some
Gucci.
Fashionable nerd.
I did actually look them up after we talked about it last week, and the guy Maurizio Gucci has those sort of glasses, and you know he's got pretty much that sort of look. It's quite an interesting little tale. So I am keeping an eye on this film. I am interested to see what happens with it. Lady Gaga, I think, is one of those people that has very successfully, you know, made that transition from being a musician and music artist to also being quite a well-accomplished actress as well. So good on her. Go for it, Gaga.
Thank you so much.
Go Gaga.
That's what I say.
Yeah, I mean, it looks good, and there's a good cast there. You know, Adam Driver's brilliant as well. So, I mean, it should be an interesting film, I think.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll see when it comes out, but
that's it. We'll keep an
the
eye on
more we
that
see
one,
of it,
for sure.
It is one to keep an eye on. I mean, also this week, news comes out that there's talks ongoing with Amazon to do Ace Ventura 3.
Alrighty then.
Good old Jim Carrey, eh? That's the original Ace Ventura, is the film that launched him as a leading star, really.
It's interesting. I mean, to be honest, Ace Ventura was the one Jim Carrey film I couldn't really get behind myself. But it's interesting because, you know, I think we've talked before that Jim Carrey didn't really want to make Ace Ventura 2 back
That's right, yeah.
then. And actually, after doing Ace Ventura 2, he didn't do a sequel for 20 years.
No.
For anything, he always wanted to do something new, which kind of suits his character, really.
Yeah.
May I tell you what I think happened? Alrighty then.
So, yeah, I guess he changed his mind. He did Dumb and Dumber 2.
That's right.
And now we're looking at this as another sequel, so he must need some money, I guess.
I think so, probably. I mean, it's one of those ways when you get to a certain age and your star is fading, so to speak, a little bit, as may be the case with our Jim, then, you know, take one of your formerly successful franchises and give it a shot in the arm and do another movie. Whether it'll be something like Coming to America, where it's just basically doing the same old jokes for a new audience and trying to pass that off as a decent film, I don't know. But I certainly found that to be the case with Coming to America. Was quite disappointing because it was just a rehash. And the jokes are all watered down, and it's all like, oh, come on, you're not going to do anything different. And
it's interesting that because you weren't a fan of Coming to America, were you? In the second one, but I didn't mind it. I thought it was okay, not brilliant, but
yeah,
but passable. But it seems, I mean, again, this is Amazon talking about it, so it seems to be their thing they want to do. By the seems
let's get all the old classics and make another sequel for them.
That's it.
I mean, I didn't hate Coming to America. There was one or two moments that give me a little bit of a giggle, but as I said to you at the time when we were talking about it, those moments tended to be the stuff that was quite new to it. You know, like the new characters and some of the situations that they were in made me giggle. But, you know, just putting stuff in there for the sake of it, I just found it a little bit like, you know, in a sense, it reminded me of the whole Scorsese thing, saying about this is closer to a theme park ride than it is to cinema. I felt like that about Coming to America. It was more like you're going on a theme park ride through, you know, going back to yesteryear and going through this journey of, oh yeah, remember that joke, remember this joke, and there was just nothing original enough about it to rate it as being a great sequel. So no, I certainly wasn't.
Sexual chocolate.
Yeah, even that would just felt wedged in at the end and stuff. And the guys from the barbershop always crack me up. That was a funny scene, but they're just funny characters. I think I'd rather have watched 2 hours of just what happens in the barbershop, you know?
You must be out of your goddamn mind.
I'd love that if they just did a film with that. Actually, that would be brilliant.
Yeah.
Talking of Eddie Murphy, though, and Coming to America, he has been on the interviews this week again, and they've been talking about Beverly Hills Cop 4.
Right, okay.
And then obviously this has been talked about for about 15 years.
It has been. It has done the rounds. Yeah.
It has long thingy. It's been almost developmental hell for them. Basically, he said right now Netflix has it, which is interesting. Netflix have got this one.
Okay, another VOD service.
It's what they're supposed to be doing next, but Eddie Murphy has said he's not going to do anything until the script is right.
So another 15 years.
Either that, or that's code for put another couple of zeros on the paycheck.
$5,000. Read my lips.
I don't know. Maybe it's a reaction to Coming to America that's caused him to say that as well. A lot of people have probably called him out on that having a pretty weak script, which it did. And, you know, but, you know, the thing with Beverly Hills Cop was the first one was a classic, still brilliant now to go back and watch, real good fun. Second one was fairly decent. It was another good action comedy. Third one, it wasn't a great film. Most people will say the third installment of that particular franchise was not great. So when it comes then to bringing back a fourth one, never mind the fact that it's 20, 30 years later, we're already thinking, hang on, Beverly Hills Cop 3 was pretty crap. What are you doing trying to do another one?
Yeah, it starts to stretch the franchise, doesn't it? And at what point do you go now? And
again, it's another problem with having nothing original. You know, talking about the Snyder Cut, it's completely derivative of everything Marvel did. I could go on about that for ages, but we won't waste people's time talking about it here. Coming to America, again, rinsing, stuff that's already been done and was established years ago. And now this again, it's like, where's the original ideas? That's why I suppose, in a sense, that House of Gucci sounds quite interesting because it's something new at least, and we'll see.
It's interesting because the best film I've seen this year so far was that White Tiger on Netflix. Right. Yeah. And to me, it was great because it was brand new. It was a book from 15 years ago, an Indian author, and it was something completely different. And that's why it was good. None of these sequels or spin-offs or any of this. It was like, that was what was good.
Yeah.
It's like, just do more of that. There's plenty of books in the world they can adapt.
Yeah. It's taking that chance, isn't it? It's taking the chance on the investment that they have to put into that people will eventually go and watch it. But I think, they need to learn a lesson from audience reactions in the sense that, something original, you never know. I mean, look at all that stuff in the 70s when they were making films for... very, very low budget, all that Roger Corman stuff and things like Easy Rider made on a very, very low budget and then went on to make millions and millions of dollars at the box office. And that's the audience, resonating with fresh material. So maybe they need to go back to that.
It sounds like they do. To make,
there's still great films out there that are original, but they are very much on the independent circuit, not the big Hollywood films that we're going to get pushed down our throats in terms of, video on demand or what used to be going to the theatres. Hopefully that's going to make a comeback.
I mean, talking of like some kind of, something original, we do have, we've pre-productions now underway on this new Nick Cassavetes film. Okay.
Tell me about that.
Nick Cassavetes, of course, being the son of John Cassavetes.
And Jenna Rollins.
Actually, I wasn't that aware of Nick Cassavetes, and when I looked him up, just as I heard the news about this, is quite astonished at how many films he's done.
He's done a lot, hasn't he? I suppose The Notebook is probably the most famous film of his.
Yes.
Which does star his mum, Jenna Rollins. Everybody knows The Notebook, surely. One of the most famous modern romantic films.
Yeah, just quite a few films there, and I was like, oh, I didn't realise that was him. One of them that slipped me by, but he's got a new film underway called God Has a Bullet.
Right. Interesting title.
Which, already piques the interest, doesn't it? You go, oh, that's an interesting... what's this going to be about? They've announced the cast. So we've got Jamie Foxx.
Excellent.
Micah Monroe.
Don't know.
Nicolaj Coster-Waldau.
That he's out of Game of Thrones. He played Jaime Lannister. Got his hand chopped off.
Yeah, this should help you remember.
January Jones.
January Jones, okay, yeah.
From Mad Men, and Andrew Dice Clay.
Andrew Dice Clay? Is he still running a gym?
No, running a gym. What, you need a workout or something?
So, yeah, I guess not. Well, that's certainly an interesting cast. And, Nick Cassavetes, great filmmaker. I'll be well up for seeing that.
Yeah, apparently the story is about a detective who finds his ex-wife murdered and daughter kidnapped by a satanic cult.
Ooh. So, why is Nicolas Cage not in this movie?
Am I getting through to you? Over!
That sounds like a plot to a Nicolas Cage film, does it not?
It does.
Maybe it's a good thing that he's not.
Just begin, Nicolas Cage.
We'll keep an eye on that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
And finally, the most interesting news, in my opinion, to come out this week was there's been an interview with Chris Columbus. Okay. I think it was actually the interview was a couple of years ago, but it's been doing the rounds on Twitter, and so Columbus has actually clarified some of his comments on Twitter or something. But basically, the premise of it is he was saying that there's actually about 3 or 4 different versions of Mrs Doubtfire.
Mrs Doubtfire.
The Robin Williams classic, of course, one of my favourites.
Yeah, mine too. Loved it.
Basically, what he was saying that was Robin would do 2 or 3 takes of the scripted lines that they'd written, and then, as we guess, it's Robin Williams, he would just improvise, and they'd do 15 to 22 takes of just Robin Williams riffing, you know.
Spoiled for choice in the editing suite, then.
That's it. And so the result of that is apparently there's multiple cuts, including one that would be R-rated.
I'll bet.
Sitting in the vaults, and it, you know,
that's Robin effing and jeffing all the way through it.
So yeah, we're just all. I think everyone's like, we want to see this version and get it released. You know. Well,
it's certainly great Blu-ray material. You know, have the original theatrical cut, and then loads of bonus features, a documentary of them talking about the making of, and possibly an R-rated cut in there as well. I mean, I'd buy that for $1.
I'd buy that for $1.
So would I. I'd be right to buy that, you know.
Absolutely.
Just to see Joseph, dead fire, darling.
Was that your Mrs. Doubtfire impression?
That's my awful Mrs. Doubtfire impression.
Hello, dear.
My fucking tits are on fire.
Danny boy. Let's not do it ever again. Ever again. I love that film, though, and I love that scene in particular where he goes for the job interview and she's saying to him, do you have any skills? And he's like, oh, yes, I do voices. And he does that whole bit, you know.
Absolutely brilliant, isn't it?
I want you in the worst way. And all that stuff. So funny. Brilliant.
Well, I do voices.
Yeah!
We've come to this planet looking for intelligent life. Oops, we made a mistake.
Classic Robin Williams.
Absolute classic. Sadly missed.
Yeah, big time. He was one of the best. A great serious actor as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, some of his best stuff really was the serious stuff. Good Will Hunting and
Dead Poet Society.
Dead Poet Society and stuff like that.
There's that Christopher Nolan film as well where he's the bad guy in it, Insomnia. He's very good in that.
Stunning.
Absolutely. Also, I've been doing some more Movie of the Days this week, which you can catch up with on our TikTok or Instagram stories. Should we take a look at a couple of those?
Let's have a look.
Rolfie T.
I know what you're thinking. Has he watched 6 movies or only 5? Today's movie is Dirty Harry. Stars Clint Eastwood and he's got a huge magnum, the most powerful ice cream in the world.
What the is so funny about me? Tell me what's funny.
Today's movie is Goodfellas. It's got Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Ray Liotta. It was directed by Martin Scorsese. And if you haven't seen it yet, you're an absolute G, and you have my respect.
So last night, I watched the most emotional film I've ever seen in my life. I was brought to tears by the end. It was Sniper 3 with Tom Berenger. Real weepy.
Yeah, if you want to keep up with those, we do one every day. They go out on TikTok and Instagram and I think on Twitter as well, so you can check those out there.
Yeah, and we've got some other great content out this week. We've got our latest Film in 5 video over on our website, which covers Weird Science, the classic 1980s coming-of-age comedy. So that's worth going and checking out.
Yeah, definitely done a great job of that one there, Dave. I enjoyed that. So yeah, I'd advise people go over to moremovies.co.uk and check out Dave's review for the Weird Science, classic 80s comedy fare there. Also, how about this, Dave? What do you get if you cross British actor Patrick Troughton with French mime Marcel Marceau?
Go on.
Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Patrick Troughton, of course, was featured in this week's History of Film article. Every week we put out This Week in the History of Film on a Monday, which covers all sorts of births, deaths and events that's happened throughout history during this week. And you can go check that out, moremovies.co.uk. There's always some interesting stuff in there. So yeah, there we go. There's another More Movies Weekly of everything that we've been able to gather together this week from the world of movies, film, cinema, etc. And be sure to like, share and subscribe right here on YouTube. We really appreciate your support and thank you very much to everybody who has donated to our Buy Me a Coffee campaign. We really appreciate it. Keeps us in caffeine, keeps us awake, able to watch the Snyder Cut without falling asleep. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's it for this week. Be sure to check us out again next week, where we'll have more cracking content right here on the More Movies YouTube channel. That's it for this video. Thanks for checking it out. Please remember to like, share and subscribe, and press the bell icon for notifications. You can see more of our news, reviews and articles over on our website, moremovies.co.uk. And remember to follow us on social media at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok at More Movies For You. Remember, if you like our content, you can support us at buymeacoffee.com, link in the description below. To check out more of our fantastic content, click one of the buttons on screen now.